We're going. Welcome back to the Movie Whale Marathon. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Mac.
Yeah, and we are on Spider-Man Far From Home. Almost done with our Spider-Man marathon. Very excited to talk about this one, mostly. Um, Spider-Man Far From Home came out 2019, directed by John Watts, starring, of course, Tom Holland and Zendaya, and Jake Gyllenhaal and Jacob Batalon and Samuel L. Jackson and Jon Favreau. And those are the important ones. Am I forgetting anyone important? Like, really important? Those are the important ones. Yeah, cool. Marissa Tomei, she's in there too. So yeah, Spider-Man Far From Home. I'm a little out of breath. We just got done talking about the Doomsday trailer, so the hype was elsewhere, technically.
Yeah, there's a lot happening.
Yes, but
Anyway,
yes, Spider-Man Far From
Spider-Man.
Home. This movie gets a lot of hate, and it got a lot of hate when it came out. It
Does
still
it?
gets. Oh yes, it gets a lot of hate. I do
Hmm.
not abide by such hate. I have nitpicks. I have issues, and I do think I'll say right out the
hmm
gate. I think of this Homecoming trilogy, this is the worst one, but like that is a very very soft worst. Um,
Yeah, it's between this one and No Way Home, and I have some thoughts on No Way Home that I'd be interested to revisit while we watch it next week. So I won't say for sure that this is the weakest one, but I can see
sure.
why people put it there, if
Yeah.
that makes
Well,
sense.
I'm also watching it this time around. I was framing it as if it was part of a trilogy, and it does hurt it more so, which is
Mm.
my one little thing about like watching these movies as trilogies. Like this Homecoming, you could watch, and you don't need to watch Civil War. They recap it enough; it's
hmm
fine. You do not get the same kind of like emotional impact of what Far From Home is doing if you don't watch Endgame. You don't have to for like this marathon, but like if you watch Far From Home in a
Right.
vacuum, there's too many unanswered questions. Like, and I don't think it's a mark against the movie necessarily. It's a credit to what the MCU does and how the movies like feed
hmm
each other and feed off of each other. But like we had said last week, where like Homecoming is worse if you look at it in a vacuum. Far From Home is not even propped up just by the other Spider-Man movies. It is propped up by the other movies around it, and you kind of need like the secret ending. I think is really really fun. That doesn't make
hmm
any sense if you haven't
I
kept
have
up with
questions
like,
about it for
yeah.
sure.
So just skip it
No,
all over.
I
But
mean, I suppose you can say that. I'm not bothered by it at all because
mhm.
I don't feel like I mean, you would be most emotionally like maybe raw if you had just come from watching Endgame into watching this because of the big emotional impact that it has on Peter. But knowing or rather having previously watched what happens in Endgame, like watching that movie in the past, I don't feel like I need to revisit it every time in order to
Oh
make Far From Home a good movie, you
no
know?
no, yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, so like I think I don't really count that against the movie at all. And you were talking about it does it fit in the trilogy. I actually feel like there's a lot of really intentional callbacks to
Mhm.
the arc of the first film.
Sure.
Um, so I came away thinking that it was actually a really strong sequel for the MCU, considering how it ties to first its own movie in the trilogy,
Mhm.
with air quotes trilogy, and also with the major events of the MCU. I also feel like the intro specifically, which might be a good segue, the
Uh-huh.
intro specifically actually is very good at sort of bringing the epic events
Mm-hmm.
of Endgame to the ground level, where you kind of examine from a citizen perspective what those big fights actually meant, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like people, half the world disappearing and then suddenly throwing themselves right back
Mm-hmm.
into the world with zero changes. It's 5 years later. We have to like we get it from like a teen sort of like we get it mostly from Peter's perspective, but we also get it from like May a little bit, where she's
Mm-hmm.
like, showed up at my old apartment, and then they're not in that apartment anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So there's little things that they're very consistent about. Like in the first one, they were really good about, but they're doing it from the lens of the teenagers. The little
Yeah.
like memorial toning
Yes.
video,
In
right?
memoriam.
It's yeah, that is
And
like a huge plus.
yeah. No, I
To
like
me, that's
it.
a huge plus for the film, both
Yeah.
structurally and plot wise. Like
Yeah.
I think it's really good.
No, for sure, and it feels lived in, like you
Okay,
said,
all
with
right.
Homecoming. I
Mhm.
my point is, a lot of people critiqued. They said that this is just the worst Spider-Man because he doesn't embrace his responsibility. He wants to go on vacation. He's not taking it seriously. And for one,
Did
same
we not
people,
watch the first one? Did we not
first
watch the first
person, or the
one?
same people saying this are the same ones that'll then go defend Spider-Man 2, where he full on just quits. This teenager just wants to take a week
Mhm.
off. I have no issue with that. However, the watching these movies, like the Spider-Man movies, in a vacuum now, where Peter ends at the end of Homecoming and where he ends at the beginning of Far From Home, is so drastically different and only makes sense if you consider what he went through in Infinity War and in Endgame. Like, they don't even explicitly say in this movie that Peter was someone who blipped. You have to infer it, which is not difficult
Mhm.
to do. I'm just saying that, not a mark against the movie, but against the watching experience, you do kind of have to have seen the other two Avengers movies for most of this to make sense, or for most of it to land.
But that's like critiquing a TV show dropping into season 3. Like there I don't think that that is because there are things that rely on past watching experiences. I don't think that's a negative against the movie. I really
No,
don't.
but it's a
Like
strength for the other movies that can do it. Like, it's not like a box you have to check. Like, I guess I'm not trying to critique Far From Home necessarily. It's just, I almost struggle to look at these movies as like an actual trilogy because they're not. This is like Spider-Man 3. And Infinity War and Endgame was Spider-Man 2. Like, so it's weird to think of this as the second in his story because it's not. Like, there's a much, and that is a thing about comic books and these comic book movies at this point in general, where like Civil War is Avengers
mhm,
2.5, and
right.
Avengers is Iron Man 3, and so on and so forth. Like, it applies to all of them in my mind in this MCU conglomeration, where like there are no trilogies, there are no sequels. It's just the way it is. So I'm
I
I
do
like
feel like a good MCU trilogy, even though it's not structured like a
mhm.
standalone trilogy, a good MCU trilogy still harmonizes with the other movies in the trilogy in a way that the rest of the MCU movies don't, because they focus in on the specific
Yeah.
character or
For
characters that they're working
for
with.
this, I think the school stuff and the Peter Parker life, for the most part,
Mhm.
is perfectly doing that. The superhero stuff isn't. It needs the other. You need the context of the other stuff to understand and for it to land. Whereas the school stuff, from Homecoming to Far From Home to No Way Home, skipping ahead, beautiful trilogy, wonderfully connected. All of it is a big thread going from sophomore to senior to applying to colleges and summer vacation and midterms and whatever the fuck. And so, yeah, cool. But we go.
What you're saying is like functionally true. I just don't understand why you don't like it.
It's what I'm saying is what I'm trying to defend at this point is why Far From Home is the weakest of the three in this MCU Spider-Man first trilogy.
I guess I just don't see it relying on past MCU events as a weakness at all. Like, I think that's a strength for the movie.
I I consider it. I don't know because like people outright argue that that's a weakness if you have to watch other movies to enjoy a movie, which I
And
don't care about because I don't consider it
that's a
homework.
preference.
Yes, it's a preference, but
Right.
it is also, it's noteworthy if you, because
It's
what
noteworthy.
I'm
Like, I
saying,
wouldn't recommend that people watch this movie without having watched
yeah,
Endgame and Infinity
there's
War or Civil War.
the other thing is a great deal of Far From Home is reliant on more MCU connections than Homecoming was.
Sure.
And
Mhm.
No Way Home picks up right where Far From Home leaves off. The big thing about No Way Home is to truly appreciate that you have to have watched all the other Spider-Man movies, which we could talk about next week, and whether or not that is a positive or a negative. But most of, I would say, No Way Home is dealing directly with Spidey stuff. The big connection is the Doctor Strange thing. But they introduce him in that movie in a way where it's like, yeah, okay, so he knows this guy. This Far From Home, right now, where we are, we're dealing with a villain who is doing callbacks to Civil War and Iron Man. We're dealing with the death of a character that, again, all of this is a play. Like, you go into this movie if you haven't seen anything else, it's like, Black Widow's dead? Captain America's dead? Is Vision dead? Iron Man's dead? Like, there's just a lot happening. So if you go from Homecoming to this, and you don't watch the other ones, you're like, what do you mean everyone blipped away for 5 years? What? Huh? What? And like, look, that's all I'm saying is that Far From Home, I think, is the weakest of the three. I have lots of good stuff that I want to talk about, but I've been defending this point for 10 minutes.
We should probably move on from this point. I was following everything you were saying right from the point where you say that's a weakness. I don't agree that it's a weakness.
I think it's borderline a weakness because it requires more
less
work.
Accessible, but
yes,
just because it's less accessible does not mean that it's weaker.
Okay.
Again, like you could have. Plotting is a complicated thing.
Yeah,
because there are people who don't understand the plot doesn't mean the plot is bad.
Okay, but, so maybe this is synonymous then. I think it's a strength if a movie stands better on its own without the homework. So then by definition, it's technically a weakness if it doesn't.
That is a preference.
Fine. Anyway, the intro is cool. I really, really like how they've done Mysterio, in that if you didn't know about the comics, you do actually get sucked into it, I think. I like that they set him up as the superhero.
I didn't really know about him watching this
really?
First time. And I caught on right around the time they defeated all of them. He like gave himself up and he like, you know, and he actually didn't die. And I was like, this is too easy. I don't know what's happening, but it's not right. And then by the time like the bar scene had me crawling. I was just like, this is wrong. We should actually probably talk about that when we get there.
Yeah,
I have notes and thoughts on that.
I do
scene,
too.
Which
a lot
are
of people
both
did.
Complimentary, but also full of bitterness.
So to do some quick catching up then, real quick. Yes, the Feast stuff is great, and May working for them is awesome, and Spidey, you know, being a part of that, and seeing the Iron Spider suit is very fun.
With Happy,
yes, I'm fine
May
with that.
It's actually fantastic.
It's playful.
Continue.
I like that Happy's here. We're going on a trip. It's great. There is a little montage of him prepping for the trip. That's a deleted scene. I really wish they didn't delete it because it's really, really fun. We're doing some superhero stuff. We're getting lots of big questions. Are you the new Iron Man? Are you the head Avenger? That's all very, very good, stressful, anxiety-ridden questions. We get the joke about the Peter Tingle. Ugh, but like it's fun because the ant comes up with it. So whatever. We like MJ now. Very. I do kind of wish
I'd like us to get to the Spidey sense word thing, but again I wonder if maybe that's part of the deal or something where Sony tried to handicap them by not giving them. No, it's not. Okay, but like why aren't we saying certain things then anyway?
I think it's we're building up to it, and it's a classic Spider-Man joke of my spider sense is tingling, so they found a way to put in the joke that made sense that isn't cringy. It's fine. It's Aunt May being Aunt May. So yeah, all that's great, and the Peter's life still sucks as he's trying to date the girl and everything going wrong. That's all great and fun. You know, very typical Peter Parker life. I'm digging it. I feel like I'm forgetting something.
I have a note that really doesn't matter, but when they were in the art classroom and they were just having like a little chat and there were a bunch of Iron Man art projects on the wall behind them, I want to know where they got those Iron Man pictures.
Oh, probably
Did they
kiddos on
ask
set.
People, like the idea that they would have, because they looked very authentic. Like they looked like different art styles and things. That's what an art classroom looks like when you walk into it.
Either they found a good classroom or kiddos who work for the who don't work for the parents, kiddos of the people who work on set,
the crew, the cast
crew,
crew,
which would be super cool. But
Yeah.
then, yeah, then we make it to Europe, and that's all very fun. We're on location in lots of
Hmm.
places, which is cool. I've been to a couple of those
Hmm.
places, which is fun to say. It's like, oh, I've been there. Oh, yay.
Yeah,
Um,
London is a big one for me because I spent a lot of time right where a lot of the
yeah.
class stuff is. So
Prague is
yeah.
mine. That's the one I
Mm.
was at. So,
Hmm.
and then yeah, I mean, we're kind of skipping all the way ahead to the Hydro Man, which is super awesome, and
Hmm.
like ignoring the illusion side of it for just a second, the design of the water dude is awesome. I really like it. And
Hmm.
Mysterio's intro is very fun. The theme is pretty good. And in this universe, the idea of combining like the idea of Iron Man and Doctor Strange, who are both now public superheroes, I think works. Like, and
Hmm.
I'm having fun with it. I'm vibing with it. I'm strong and I'm
Yeah,
sticky.
no,
Classic line.
Mysterio.
And using
Mysterio
Italy to
showing
give him the
up.
name. Yes, we're still in the that era of MCU where like we aren't just coming up with
Yeah.
random silliness.
Well, and the fact that he shows up with like a full suit,
Mm-hmm.
you get a lie explanation for it, and then you get like a real world explanation for it. The lie explanation being he is a fully formed hero just from a different
Yes. Yes,
dimension, right?
exactly.
Which sort of
Yes.
which is, that suggests he would show up with the full get up and know what he's doing. And then the real example is that he actually put together the persona of a superhero so that he could be on stage in front of everybody and have all that power and respect. So of course he would only show up with a fully made suit, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
that's the logic is still super sound, even though Mysterio arguably develops visually super quickly for the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
The picking up the name from another language is a nice touch towards sort of like the normal sort of
Mm-hmm.
organic element, but it also makes sense that he would just show up completely as he is with
Yeah.
his backstory and everything.
And I like I don't know when you like relax into it. I like how they frame him as a mentor and how he's like really relaxed
Mhm.
with Peter and how Peter gets to
Well,
do it.
Peter is starving for some
He
positive
is,
male
and
adult
it's
mentorship, and
yes. And there's this cool thing they do because like if you didn't know anything about Mysterio, you get the fun twist in the end, or like like
Mhm.
at half during the third act, shall we say,
Halfway
the
there.
beginning, yeah, which is like oh my gosh, crazy. But if you do know anything about Mysterio, you don't get that fun twist until the very end, where you find out actually Nick Fury wasn't even Nick Fury the whole time. Like, ha, got you, motherfuckers. That's
Mhm.
great. But what also means though is like in those moments when Peter doesn't have a good mentor from Quentin, well, he at least has it from Nick Fury. No, he doesn't, but he does from Happy, and I really like that. Happy
Yeah.
is the connecting
Yeah.
thread kind of mentor guy, Uncle Happy, throughout all of these
Mhm.
movies. He's the reliable, comfortable thread, and I dig that. I think
It's a
that works really
really,
well.
really sweet scene, like just between them on the plane and
Mm-hmm.
everything. Like eh, Peter was needed someone to be there for him, and he like somebody finally was,
Mm-hmm.
um, and it was. And he was like competent at it. It wasn't just
Yeah.
like the thought that counts. He actually said things that mattered and
Mm-hmm.
that helped Peter sort of like get his head right.
Mm-hmm.
So great scene. I
Yeah.
would rewatch just that scene for fun.
I have. Yeah. It's good
Mhm.
stuff. Let's see. I know we're all over the place, but that's because I do think this one is not
So
as. Oh, you go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say where we were was Mysterio showing up, and we were
Yeah.
getting to know his backstory and everything.
I really only have like two issues with Mysterio. If we want to talk about Mysterio for a second, I like that it's a whole team. I think it makes more sense for it to be a
Hmm.
whole team. I
Yeah.
like that it's made up of people who are like disgruntled and scorned. I don't know if they needed that much affiliation with Stark Industries. I don't hate it.
Right.
I think it's fun that William comes back all the way from Iron Man 1. Like
Uh-huh.
I think that's really fun.
Uh-huh.
Um I like the suit a lot. I really, really do. I love the hologram version, like the way they design it, like superhero Mysterio. I also like
Hmm.
his mocap suit and the dome fishbowl and the how like some of
They
the motion
have
capture bits look like eyes. Like I love how they went into it like that.
well, it's very interesting because they almost like it's like the motion capture suit nods towards the supervillain design,
Mm-hmm.
and the supervillain design nods towards the motion capture
Mm-hmm.
because the his undersuit has motion capture like lines and points on
Mm-hmm.
it. And while I was watching the smoke in particular from his like magic or whatever, I just feel like there has to be nods here. I feel like the special effects team that put together Mysterio's special effects were making like in-joke references the whole time. I don't know them because I'm not on the in, but that smoke in particular, it just looks like the kind of smoke I used to see in like Narnia, for example, like early 2000 fantasy
Oh,
films, where
yeah,
it looks
maybe.
like an old strategy, you know? So
Hmm.
like if someone was in the special effects business, they would look at that smoke and immediately think of that special effects, which means as an audience member, they'd automatically be thinking about how that smoke would like work as a special effect,
Hmm.
rather than it be leaning fully into looking like the MCU's special effects, right?
Hmm.
So like I just wonder if there's more of that
I don't
rather than
know.
just like, the
Yeah.
costume designs, everything. I have questions about that.
Interesting.
I don't know if I'm just hoping for something that isn't there or if there actually is something there. I just the suit and the smoke
Hmm.
combined made me kind of go, that's two inside jokes that I barely get it maybe for the smoke, right? What
Maybe.
else is happening that I'm
I
missing?
not a clue. But it's working
Yeah.
for me. Yeah. The uh
Mm-hmm.
the multiverse story is ridiculous, but at the same time, it works. I like how the
Right.
first intro to the multiverse really is just a lie, like laying the groundwork for the idea of it.
Well, I
Um
also kind of love the idea that we're at the point where someone could say something like that and people would
mhm.
just go like, sure,
Sure.
yeah,
Why not? And
why
also
not?
it's fairly good timing that it's Talos and not Nick because he
Mhm.
probably wouldn't have
Yep.
believed that, which is funny.
100%. I think I was trying to examine in particular on my watch this time if Nick Fury and Maria Hill are portrayed as out of character or if they're portrayed as fully the character and then they just threw in the twist for fun at the end. And I
Hmm.
do actually think there are moments, particularly with Fury, that do seem just a touch out of character.
Yeah.
Like it seems like there is a performance of Nick Fury happening from someone who works with Nick Fury, but maybe not someone who's had like an inside personal relationship with Fury,
Hmm.
because Fury is actually surprisingly flexible in his one-on-one conversations with most people. He like, he's softer with Marvel. Because he just kind of like enjoys her company.
Right.
He's comforting and stabilizing to Cap. He calls out Tony, right?
Yeah.
Like he manages to adjust his approach based off the person he's talking to. And the entire time in this movie, Nick Fury, or the person who is supposed to be Nick Fury, is really aggressive
Yeah.
towards Peter. And
Uh-huh.
honestly kind of puts him and his classmates in danger. And
Hmm.
there are moments of incompetency that could be chalked up to like, hey, Nick Fury's not the head of Shield anymore. He can't just call and evacuate Prague.
Hmm.
But um there's certain levels of like, I'm not sure Nick Fury would have just straight up trusted
Yeah.
Mysterio like
Hmm.
that, right? So I'm trying to decide how much of that is intentional and how much of that is me like projecting in a desire to see a
I
difference
I
between
think it is
them.
very intentional because it was intentional that it was Talos the whole time.
Okay, okay. I mean, they say that at the end, but sometimes,
There's line
especially when things get all secretive
Yeah,
in
but there's
departments
lines of
and stuff.
dialogue where like in the trailer for Far From Home when Peter meets Mysterio, Nick Fury says he's from Earth just not ours. In the movie he says he's from Earth just not yours, implying right away that
Uh,
he's not from here. It's his Earth, not their Earth.
yeah. So it's likely that Samuel Jackson's performance then was
Might
informed
be a
by the
little
fact
yeah,
that he
he's
was,
a little
yeah.
off. He's a little bit different. He's like a
Hmm.
guy trying to be Nick Fury.
Hmm.
And I think
And
that
I did pick up on that when
yeah.
I was watching it through this time.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I think it comes across the most when he's talking to Happy at the very, very end, where he's
Hmm.
like, "I had doubts." It's like, "No, you didn't. You never had doubts." Like, well, that's
Yeah.
not Nick Fury at all. Then,
Well, and there's a certain like dynamic between this version like of like fake Maria Hill
Mhm.
and fake Fury where like Hill was never afraid to sort of like call out Fury, but it was also always very clear that she was his subordinate. And I'm not sure I get those kind of vibes from Maria Hill. And I was willing to just chalk it up to they're on the road now. He's not really her
Mm-hmm.
boss anymore.
Yeah,
But it could also be that like that's not actually them and that's not actually their
yeah. This
dynamic.
time they're husband and wife, and there is no boss. If there is a
Mhm.
boss, we know who it is. It's Hill.
I will
Like,
say, this is nothing to do with the fault of the movie at all. I do find it tragic that this is Maria Hill's functionally like her last project, and she's not
Yeah.
even herself. Um,
Yeah.
I I
It's
love that character,
that's
and the
a
MCU did her so
they
dirty
did.
sometimes.
That's an MCU
It's
problem across
uh,
the board.
yeah.
But anyway, all that to say, I like that
Anyway,
twist because it gives those people who knew it was Mysterio the whole time and knew Mysterio was bad their own like, oh wow, a twist. Um,
I also thought it was really funny that he specifically calls out, "I'm a shapeshifter," and I got fooled by
yeah, it's
that.
just
Like that's
embarrassing for a
embarrassing.
shapeshifter. Fine, like yeah, that's great. But like for the most part, I think the way they do Mysterio works. I like the drones. I like the holograms. It's using tech that has been established. It's all working for me. People being annoyed that Tony Stark left access to a security network, that makes sense to me. People other than
Mm-hmm.
Beck being okay killing children because of it, that seemed like a bit
Questions.
of a stretch.
Questions. Yeah.
Yeah, that
Mhm.
was a bit far.
Especially the line, like, the children in the kill
I know,
zone
like,
really
dude, you
calls it
just
out
said
for me.
that with your mouth. Like, my God. I also,
Yeah,
I
that
think
was pretty
it's
much my reaction too.
Yeah, I think it's funny how Quentin is definitely the unhinged crazy guy, but William is also just an idiot. Like he repeatedly
Hmm.
has to like correct him on things. Is like you're making the crazy guy look good here, William. You need to shape up.
Hmm.
Like no wonder you couldn't
Hmm.
make the tiny arc reactor. You're kind of dumb. But
Well, I do
yeah,
love that they make it very clear that these are like intelligent and relatively capable people,
mm-hmm.
but they also, particularly in the bar scene, make it clear that they are malicious people,
Yes,
right? Like, and I love that they walk that line with the group
mm-hmm.
because rather than just being a bunch of like buffoons who are evil because they aren't don't have the intelligence to see the like wrongness of their actions or whatever, they know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just okay with it,
Yep,
which then gives like credence to the idea that they would have lost their job
yeah,
because they
they're
are
unstable, crazy people.
genuinely bad people who
Yeah,
make bad choices.
mm-hmm.
Um, so I think that they did a really good job balancing sort of like the understandable grievance, but then also understandable like reason why someone would make that grievance a thing for them, like why they would
Mm-hmm.
get fired essentially.
Yep, I
Yeah.
totally agree. Let's see here. There's a couple other like positives. So I was torn on the, I guess for lack of a better name, the Night Monkey suit, because yeah, it's not really
Mm-hmm.
all that interesting, but I liked it because it's the first Spider-Man suit we ever get out of pure necessity, which is really cool in my
Mm-hmm.
opinion. It doesn't last very long, but it's fun.
I also find it hilarious that they have someone make that suit like
Mm-hmm.
intentionally because he's like, Spider-Man can't be seen here. I'll
Right?
be made. And the minute he shows up in that suit, she
Is that
goes, "Is
Spider-Man?
that Spider-Man?"
Yeah, it's like oh shit.
That didn't work
Um,
at all.
yeah. I do like that it's very tactical. Like these shield scrolls didn't really spend any time designing anything fun or
Mhm.
cool, and we get a couple of
Mhm.
action sequences with it, which is nice. There's uh, it's not my least favorite Spider-Man suit. We'll get to that eventually, so not that bad. And it inspires him to use black instead of blue in his next suit, which I like a lot.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
so cool beans. Fire monster fight is cool. Mysterio stuff
Mhm.
in that is cool. Ned being in danger is a little convenient, but you know, whatever movie. Um, the mountain
It's
goat
better than
scene,
MJ conveniently being in trouble.
indeed. Mountain goat scene, a lot of people hated. I think it's mostly fun.
Oh yeah. I mean, I have a bit of a plot question or maybe just like world building question around how ready Edith was to
it was very quick.
shoot a teenager. Yeah,
That was very
and
quick.
how few safeguards there essentially were
Yeah,
around it. Like there was one confirmation question, but that
right.
was it. That was it.
Edith definitely
Um,
seems to be
okay.
the lowest level of the AIs we've experienced so far. She's more reactionary and less thoughtful.
Hmm.
Like she's
Hmm.
not Karen Friday or Jarvis. She's just kind of do this, I do this kind of
Hmm.
thing. Um, I know Edith as well, since we're on that, was something that a lot of people didn't like, which I
It's fine.
it's fine. I do get why people don't
Hmm.
like it because we really don't do anything with it later on. We write it out of the movie almost immediately in No Way Home. Um,
I
so
do. Yeah, it feels. it's a bit of like a complication for anything that's not this plot, essentially. And it also kind of feels like another acronym for another
I
intelligence
know.
service.
I
When in
yeah.
previous, like what we're used to as MCU fans is Jarvis is just in everything.
Yeah.
But Jarvis isn't here anymore. And I do think it makes character sense for Tony to keep like trying to reinvent Jarvis and never really being happy with the results and therefore having just a ton of like AI interfaces lying around.
Mhm.
I think that actually makes a lot of sense. And that's how I've kind of like headcanoned why we have all these different like AI interfaces. Um, it probably would have been better if it was just Friday again, though. Don't you
I
think?
I kind of agree with the opinion that it honestly shouldn't be in here at all, really,
Mm,
because the weakest points of the movie are, I think, the Edith stuff. You could absolutely have Mysterio still wanting to be the superhero, and like someone had made an argument. They did like a whole video on it, where the tech that they should be after is the Iron Spider suit. It's like the last bit of Stark nanotech that's around, and they want to get their
mm,
hands on that, and they need to get Spidey into like a vulnerable place, so they still lure him to fight scenes, and they still follow him to Europe, and they still need to get their grubby little mitts and some Stark tech, and he still hands it over like it's the only technology advanced enough to repair Quentin Beck's suit or something. You know, you still realize later on, like, you
right.
just gave nanotech to a guy who's basically wearing plastic. Like, it can still work, and you don't have to introduce a full blown brand new tech thing slash MacGuffin thing slash global security network that we leave to a 16-year-old child. So
I do kind of like glasses aside and functionality and like complications aside, I do kind of like the drone security like aspect of what Tony leaves Peter though. Simply because one, the drones make for excellent fight choreography. It's
sure,
super interesting.
yeah.
It's like visually I will take a few knocks on like logic to have that. 100%. Um, but then I also feel like it's a kind of good stand-in for what the Ultron program usually is in the comics,
Yeah.
where there's usually like a, you know, at least a few sort of like global Ultron services. They do a pretty good job of making it seem like there's a lot of Ultrons in Age of Ultron, but it's
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be like so many, like endless.
Right.
And they're supposed to be deployed like this safety global network thing is too. And it's actually, it kind of makes sense from the MCU perspective that Tony would be like, okay, making it in charge of itself was a bad choice. What if I put
Mm-hmm.
someone I trust in charge of the security thing that I've created?
Yeah.
Picking the 16-year-old boy was just a little wild,
that's
Tony.
that's my thing is like I try not to think about it too much because I like this movie a lot more than the average person, I think, but I don't like that he leaves it to Peter. It just doesn't
Mm,
make any sense to me because it means
mhm.
he would have had to do this the night before they
The
snap
time
everyone
travel.
back, and that means they
Yeah.
also did that assuming it would work. I almost wonder if it's not
Mm-hmm.
something that Tony leaves him, but it's something Nick Fury does as a test. But
Mm-hmm.
that's still
Mm-hmm.
so reckless even for Nick Fury. I just don't think it makes sense any way you slice it. If you think about
Yeah,
it for
that's
too
fair.
long, but I don't like to think about it for too long because for the most part it's just fun. I do get a little twitchy with the language we use as far as transferring your controls to Quentin Beck instead of
Mm-hmm.
adding him as an admin, because when Peter puts on the glasses and
Mm-hmm.
tells her what to do and she listens, I'm
They
like,
recognize him
well,
immediately.
yeah, wait a minute,
Yeah.
you said transfer, not in addition to. So should it work for you,
Mhm.
Peter? I don't know. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, I think you can still have Mysterio do everything he does, and still have Peter do like everything he does, including making the mistake, and not involve still have the Stark connection and not involve Edith at all, and it works perfectly because the only thing Edith really helps with is fixing the photo situation with Brad and the blonde lady, and that we don't need that anyway. So
You know, this is so not relevant to what we're talking about, but since we mentioned her, I really thought, because the first time we see her, we just see a blonde lady in a leather jacket, and I was like, oh my gosh, Bobby Morse, Bobby
oh yeah,
Morse, we
nope,
got Mockingjay in here.
nope,
No,
no, you didn't.
no, we didn't.
You
And
thought, but nope,
I got really excited in the theater for like a hot second,
nope,
and then it was just some nobody, and I was
nope.
like, I will try to be okay with that. I will try really hard to
Yeah.
be okay with that.
I think the odds of getting Nicolas Cage back as Ghost Rider is higher than any of the Agents of Shield ever being in the MCU.
So sad. I mean, I get it, but like they wouldn't even need to be the same like actual character, right? Just bring the actor
It's
in.
been too
It would be
long.
so good.
It's been too
It would
long.
be
They're all
so
old and
good.
retired now.
Not all of them. I'm pretty sure that Daisy Johnson's actress, whose name
Oh,
Chloe,
I don't mean the
she would still
actors.
be
I
down.
mean the characters. I
Hmm.
mean, Barton and
Again, they
Laura
don't
are
need to be the
retired.
same
Oh,
characters.
I
This
see.
could
I see.
be a
I see.
multiverse version of
Oh, I see.
Quake or
I
whatever,
see.
right?
Okay. Okay.
And like you could totally do it. I would love to see the cavalry show up one of these days,
Yeah.
right? It's just they're not going to do it. I'm sorry for derailing the
That's
conversation, but I
fine.
got excited because I thought for a very quick second in the theater that they were going to do it, and I was like, no one's going to know who this is. I'm going to know who this is,
Nope.
but
Not
I
her.
didn't.
Yep. Probably just a scrawl. So don't even worry about it.
Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway.
The bus scene happens. It's fine.
It's fine.
It's a little bit funny. It's also a little bit cartoonish, but like,
Yeah.
hey, we're working with comics
Yeah,
here.
it's
Moving
whatever.
on.
Yeah.
Um,
And then we get to Prague and we have some good fun and there's some drama and MJ clearly likes Peter and the fire monster looks
yeah.
cool and Mysterio's a good supportive mentor and Nick Fury yells at Peter Parker and all this good stuff. Now, where I fully flip and I'm now in full defense of the movie is people are like, Peter Parker is not dumb enough to give a random stranger Edith. And my whole thing is, first of all, there is lots in this movie setting Quentin Beck up to be this like reliable
A
leader
trustworthy
guy.
individual.
He's like a general from another dimension. He's a superhero. Like even like you blink and you miss it when he pulls in all his green magic energy, he snaps his finger to again subconsciously compare himself to Iron Man. He grows the beard out to look like Iron Man. And then in the bar behind
Evil
him
man.
are war medals on the wall. People pointed out that again, it's subliminal messaging.
That bar scene is so good.
It's so good. And then he's got little tiny jabs of like, let me see you with the glasses. Honestly, it looks kind of dumb, but like whatever. Maybe there's a context version. Like he adds these jokes that make it sound playful, like a fun uncle, but it's still a barb that's now in your mind of like, yeah, I do look dumb in them, don't I? I shouldn't have it.
Yeah,
I
like
look
you
bad.
look like it's not enough for you. And
Yeah.
then like there's like there are 3 lines I feel like he says. What did I have put down here? It was I don't know. I guess I can't see it now, but he says they look kind of dumb line. He mentions him acting irresponsibly. Even the point where he's like, you know what? Hey, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to give him over to you. He still has to play the part, right? And he says another line that undercuts Peter's like he's like, I don't understand. I'm not following you. How many lemonades?
How many lemonades have you had?
Right? Like,
Which is pretty good.
It's funny, but it also again he's like you're acting drunk, right? Like
Yeah.
it's an undercutting of his confidence and his
And then
decision making.
even after
he's making the decision that he wants him to make.
Right. Even after he gets it, he's like, good luck with the girl. I give you about a 50-50 shot. You're pretty awkward.
Right.
Which again is very funny, but we're making
Yes.
fun of him. And so my big thing
I'm
though.
pretty sure he fakes the drop too, where Peter doesn't actually drop the glasses, but the person who's in the bar who gives them to him would be a part of the act,
Oh,
right? So
definitely.
like it's clearly a fake drop. So
Yeah.
he's like, oh, you're not even responsible enough to keep the sunglasses in a safe place, right? Like it's the whole thing is so undercutting. I'm just sitting there, and Peter thinks he's getting true mentorship for the first time in a long time.
I
And I'm like, you are
know.
being manipulated. I couldn't stand that scene the first time. Well, I
Right.
can't stand it in the sense that it's written so well that I'm like panicking the
I
whole
agree.
time this scene's happening.
And my big thing here is like where everyone's like, why would you give glasses to this nobody? It's like you have to put yourself in his shoes. And the idea of giving what is essentially a Doctor Strange adjacent level character a bunch of tech drones is nothing to him. If he wanted to destroy the world, he would have done it with his own powers. Like, assuming right now that Mysterio is a superhero, giving him this doesn't change anything for him.
We also, like, as far as Peter knows, we just witnessed him try to give his life for the planet, right? It's not even his planet.
Right.
Yeah.
So I get and believe him giving the glasses to Quentin. Some people are like, why doesn't Edith scan him and realize it's actually this other guy? And like, I still think that it implies that Edith is not as advanced. Like, the global security network is very advanced technologically. I don't think the AI is that advanced.
Yeah, no, she's pretty much just there so you can input commands. Like
Right.
she has no decision-making power.
Doesn't really seem like it. And I do
Mhm.
like that we get the consistent at this point. Spider-Man, he fully fucks up and then has to go fix things. I don't mind that he gets help from
Mhm.
Happy, because name me a superhero movie where they don't get help from anybody. You can't, because that's not a thing. You know, we like to have help
And
from
most of the
people.
stories that focus on that are actually the lesson is you need to learn to like help people,
Yeah,
get help from other people.
exactly.
So
You know,
it's fine.
yeah. I don't mind that we get some help from Happy. Peter's using resources and developing the stuff on his own this
Mhm.
time around, which I like. Um,
Mhm.
and there is definitely a level of convoluted in this that isn't as present, I think, in the other two Spider-Man movies, which again is why for me it's not as strong. Like, it's not a coincidence that Mysterio's in Europe at the same time as Spider-Man. They went there because he was going there. Um,
Right.
but it is, I think, a coincidence that Ned and Betty were there in the, carnival at the same time as the fight, that MJ was in the right alley after Peter hit the right spot and yanked off the
Mhm.
right piece, that then activated at the right
Yeah.
time for that. Like, all of that for me is a little like, okay, we're kind
I
of
wrote the buggy projector is literally Deus Ex Machina.
yeah,
God from a machine,
right,
right? The machine happens to give them exactly what they need at the right time for them to know what to do
yeah.
next in the story.
Like,
It's yeah.
all I think there's other ways you could do it where like he's swinging around and hits something and doesn't realize what it is, and like has to like
Mhm.
lock into the spider sense or something, or maybe one of them does break by accident, but instead of it landing next to MJ, have her, who they've already implied in the last
Pursue
movie and
it.
this one, have her like she's observing it and she sees it and she follows it, pursues it, like you said. So yeah, have her
Mhm.
do that, and then like show in the bag, like the backpack she's got, as they're walking, light very very subtly, like coming out of the sides, like it's just going and going and going,
Mhm.
and then when she takes it out and they have their conversation, it blasts again. It's not just at
Mhm.
that moment, like it's been going as they're over wherever doing their rehearsal. Like,
Testing.
yeah,
Mhm.
there's ways to do it. The most sane though that Quentin ever comes across as is like, why is my hand doing this? It's like, oh, one of the drones lost a projector. It's not a big deal. It's like, are you serious? That is a huge deal. Like, everything he says is correct. This is going
Mhm.
to tell people what we're doing and how we're doing. How could you be
Mhm.
so nonchalant about this, you dumbass? So yeah, William.
Well,
Ugh.
actually, the blocking of that scene is brilliant as well. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of on the surface, but I still really love it. He gets into his superhero persona and he has the
Yes.
CGI outfit around him. And
Yes.
then as he realizes the mistake, he drops that persona and he steps out of the suit and it's
Yes.
just him with no
Yes.
persona being angry and vengeful and
Yes.
dangerous, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very good
Yep.
visual storytelling.
I
I
also
like it a lot.
I like that whole scene a lot because we get to see how they're doing
Mhm.
it and what the process is without like explicit exposition. And then his toast scene, which is pretty, like, most of it is exposition. It makes sense because we're getting a fun recap
That's what
for,
you do
yeah,
when you
like,
toast.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's playful. It makes sense. I dig all of that. I also like how they're doing the rehearsal and no one's interested. Everyone's looking at their
Mhm.
phone. Everyone's just sitting around like this is nothing to them now. Like, very much a movie set, I imagine, when you've gone through takes 50 times. Also cool.
The get me out of the one time I think it's after the second time they trick Peter, but the line where he says, "Get me out of this costume."
Yeah, the end of
He
the bar
channeled
scene.
real energy
Uh-huh.
for that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. For sure.
That was real.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of real and what isn't real, actually, we didn't say, and I should have said, there is a great strength to this movie where, once again, like Homecoming, we're getting a brand new villain doing brand new things, which is fantastic. Loving that. And once we transition from semi superhero, not really, to full blown villain, the Mysterio sequence is incredible. Love
It's
it. It
yeah,
is
this is like
so much
top
fun.
tier hallucination nightmare sequence. And I'm not
Yes.
even talking like it's written really well.
Mm-hmm.
The things that Peter's like confronting are actually relevant to his
Mm-hmm.
emotional arc at the time without
Yep.
being too like distinctly cliche.
Yep.
And they are also rendered beautifully.
Yep.
It's like none of it is quite real. Like you're not supposed to believe any of it is exactly real, which is why when they drop into the real world it's so jarring, right?
Yes.
Like
Yes.
it's a really good choice
Uh-huh.
and I liked it a lot. They start in the school, right? Kind of a
Hmm.
callback to
I like that he's a little
Homecoming, but
spooky too
also
at first. Like Peter
oh,
turns around,
it's
he's there in the
spooky.
hallway in the smoke. Like it's dope.
Uh-huh. And it's reminding him that he's just a kid. Again, he's
Yeah.
playing on his insecurities, right?
Hmm.
He watch like he sees signs of the people he care about die.
Yep.
And then like the crumbled heroes thing
Yeah.
where it's just Mysterio left.
Hmm.
Um, really good. I also, and maybe it's just because it's conveniently round. This is the first time that Peter stands on Captain America's shield as a platform. They
Mm,
repeat this imagery
they do.
in the third movie.
They do.
And I think it's interesting because again, maybe it's just them being symbolic. Captain America's shield is the closest we come to like a superhero icon in this universe, right?
Mhm.
But there were other things they could have put there and they chose Captain America's shield. I can't help but wonder if maybe they're trying to do some like retroactive alignment with Spider-Man and the character of like Captain America, just in the sense of like he's supposed to be like equally Captain America and Iron Man in the sort of
Mm,
like humors or spirits of the, Marvel universe. And
mhm.
we only really see him align with Tony
True.
in the MCU. But that's just me overthinking things.
I would say
Anyway,
only a little, but I don't
which
want you
is
to ever
right.
don't ever stop overthinking things. I think of it as like the statues that are all crumbled are Iron Man, Captain America, and Black Widow, and it looks really good to
Mhm.
do the shield. I also like to think it's a nod to the first
Mhm.
thing we see Spidey do in the MCU is grab the shield.
Which is take the shield,
Yeah,
yeah.
which is super fun. But yeah, keep doing the overthinking. Is like, what else are we gonna do? I like
Yep.
the little nods where like the illusion leads him into places that help enhance the illusion. Like when he's in the snow globe, he's in a
Mhm.
pile of rock, so there's still like the
Mhm.
environment he's in physically changes, so it feels like what he's on in a way. I dig that a lot.
Yeah, the
Um,
narrow hallways and he's in a structural
yeah.
sort of
Uh
location.
huh.
Yeah, it's falling because he's
Yep.
literally falling
Yep.
and yeah, it's good stuff.
All that's cool.
And
So
I totally called in the theater that it wasn't Nick
oh,
Fury. I was like,
same,
"Don't say it. Don't say
same,
it. Don't say it. Don't
same.
say
Like yeah,
it."
that train hit is intense. That hurts.
It's brutal. Yeah.
The
And I think
nether.
it's also really valuable. It could have been easy for them to cut this, but it's really valuable for us to see Peter like get into the train and just sort of pass out.
Yes,
Like
yes,
they
I
could have
agree.
stopped with just him showing life on the side of the train, but they get in and we see him collapse and
Hmm.
he just can't do it anymore. Like it's
Yeah,
really important for him for us to realize he is at rock bottom
right.
here. He cannot do more.
I like
Yeah,
that.
it's good.
And then the Netherlands jail sequence is fun and lighthearted, and I
So
appreciate
funny.
that. As you said, the sequence with Happy is really good. I like all of that. My thing is I don't know anyone's phone number, and then you can't just like dial someone's phone number from another phone in another country. Like I don't know how I would contact them, so it's a good thing that Spider-Man is way smarter than me.
I went
Um,
ahead and just went with smart kid
yeah,
intelligence.
oh for sure. No, I believe he
Maybe
could do it.
assumes,
I believe he
yeah,
could do it.
honestly, it could totally be a plan thing where he's like, I will frequently use phones that are not mine. I need to memorize May's number
It's
and Happy's
entirely
number.
possible.
And
I see my
yeah.
headcanon thing is like we see in Iron Man 3 that you could use a regular payphone, some sort of Stark secure number will access whatever the Stark network is. I believe that that's
Mm,
like a hey, you're on Team Iron Man now, Civil War time is what I'm saying. And
here's all of
this
our
is your suit, this
information.
is your contact, and this is what you use to contact whoever in any situation. Memorize this. This is like the one time you get to see it. Like I believe that kind of stuff. My thing is just
Totally.
like if I was stranded in
Mhm.
the Netherlands, I'd need someone who spoke English with access to the internet so that I could somehow email somebody because I don't know anyone's
You don't
number.
have anybody's phone number
I only
memorized?
recently finally memorized my partner's phone number.
Ooh, you gotta memorize more phone numbers, man. I've got
It's not the era
both
we're
my
in.
parents and two of my sisters and one other one.
Mac, with
Yeah.
what you know of my life and my background, if I'm in a situation where I need help, you know damn well my parents and my siblings are not going to help me with anything.
Yeah, but you've had people who would help you in your life for a number of years now, and you've not memorized those
That's
numbers.
that point to you. Yes. All I'm saying is that the people you suggested before were not going to help me. Anyway, we have 10 minutes left. We have stuff to talk about. The Mysterio sequence is great. The train is great. Happy is great. Love all that. where we did skip over. MJ reveals that she knows. I love that whole moment, and where he's like, "I am Spider-Man,"
It's cute,
and I really messed up. Like all of that's great.
I also, this may just be overexposure, but she happens to say 67%.
Don't. This is 2019.
She does.
Don't.
She does.
Don't. I know, but this is before all that. She's allowed.
Anyway,
don't you even
the
dare.
Teenager, say the number 6,
No.
7.
No. It's a teenager 10 years ago. Not 10 years ago, but from her perspective now, 10 years ago. So, stop it. You hush. Hush that mouth.
Anyway, it's a very cute moment. We've actually not mentioned a lot of the domestic stuff with like Peter and his friends, which
we call Aunt May. Aunt May is. We skipped over. Aunt May found out he's Spider-Man. She's very supportive of it. I don't have an issue with that. It's a little weird. I would like further explanation of it, but I don't hate it.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen something of the conversation around like where they set boundaries on what Peter can and can't do in terms of like life-threatening.
Yeah,
you know?
She's so into it that she's making sure he doesn't forget his equipment, which is definitely a change of pace. So, again, don't hate it. Just wanted a little more explanation as to why we're so comfortable with it. Final battle, all good and fun. You know, it's lots of drones. Kind of goes on for a second. It kind of drones on. Nick Fury, all of a sudden, not buying Beck's shit is a little bit rushed. Like, I don't know. Like, the elementals.
Well, he does get the.
He does. He does.
Like, the code from
but Happy. The whole like the elementals have merged and they're drawing energy from the Earth's core. And he's like, man, that's some bullshit. Is it? Of all the things that are absolutely ridiculous that we've experienced so far in this universe, that's not that crazy.
They also hint pretty strongly that he just doesn't deliver the line very well. You know, like there's this moment of conversation. Yeah, it's like, you know, line delivery is super important. Like you have to like believe it. And the way he delivers the line is very intentionally sort of like, are you gonna believe this? Yeah. So I thought it was actually kind of a good moment. I mean, granted, it happens really quickly, but he gets the code. He's kind of been feeling maybe a little suspicious already just because things were a bit convenient, right? Things are never easy. And he gets the code, and then he gets a half-baked line delivery about something ridiculous, and he just goes, all right, fine. My favorite thing is that Maria Hill, her reaction to be ready for anything is to go grab a rocket launcher.
Yes, so good. So good.
Amazing. I have no complaints about that. That was great.
Yeah, I do like how like the very final bit of the final fight with him just embracing the spider sense and just embracing. It's just a dude, and all I had to do is get him and knock him out. I love the last little bit with the gun. Oh, what?
They kind of like foreshadow it. Actually, he's talking to May in the beginning of the movie about trying to connect with MJ, and she says, "Don't overthink it. Trust your instincts, and you'll be fine."
Oh yeah, Aunt May. Okay. That's good. I didn't catch that. Yeah.
It's intended for one thing, but it ends up being exactly what he needs for the end fight.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
So real. I do like the last little bit with the gun. It's a cool last little twist. I also like the way he's holding the glasses, the hologram. He's holding it the way you would hold a gun, which is so many good little details all throughout. Yeah, we got some good humor all throughout with like Betty and Ned. It's very fun. There's also a really crazy, awesome nod where Happy says, "Give me the spear," and Ned says, "That's a halberd." That's the weapon he wins in the game he's playing on the plane. You blink and you miss it.
I didn't notice that at all.
Everything is connected. No one notices this other than Screen Crush and New Rock Stars. Like, this is layered Easter eggs, but it's not just a funny joke. It's a layered funny joke.
I just loved that because they were in the vault where there would be weapons, someone like they do pick up weapons, and it's literally medieval tech versus flying
the most
drones,
advanced,
right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, and that scene is good. It's they managed to make them believably competent, you know?
Yeah.
It
agree.
makes sense that they don't die.
Yes. Let's see here. Then we're kind of at the end, I suppose, and we revealed the secret identity to the world, which is crazy.
Yeah, that was a twist at the end.
Not Nick. J. Jonah Jameson is back as a Alex Jones parody, which is just that's so perfect. That is so perfect.
It's really good. It's a great way to like fully launch J.J. Jameson
Yeah,
in
I
the
think
MCU too.
I won't get super political here, though we have in some ways on the show before. My point, real quick, being just by the time this movie comes out, because we love J.K. Simmons, because we love his portrayal of J. Jonah Jameson, and framing him like a person like Alex Jones, it helps to frame how toxic of a guy J. Jonah Jameson can be. Like in the comics, he kind of goes back and forth sometimes. Where like sometimes he's like sweet for like not on Peter, but like he helps him in ways that Peter's not always aware of. Other times he's just a straight up asshole. So like to frame it this way for those of us who just love J.K. Simmons and are excited to see J. Jonah Jameson again, to align him with someone that awful allows us to feel how Peter feels about him, I think, which is cool.
I have always loved the nuance in JJ's character. I say nuance because I feel like JJ was always, or at least the modern iteration of him, was always sort of supposed to play off this tension of like he does think of himself as a good guy, right? Like he's loyal to his friends and family. He might be a little brusque, but he does like look out for his people, that sort of thing. But he's also abusing like the news and journalism.
Right.
And it's always supposed to be about the specific critique of like, it doesn't matter what you do in your personal life, if you are somehow using the public sphere to project your bias, you do cause problems, right? And I think that has always been the particularly interesting thing about JJ and the Daily Bugle. So, like, we've not seen enough of him in the MCU to know if that's fully what they're doing, but that's always been like a part of my conception of him, right? Like his journalism, super bad, super damaging, but the person himself is more complicated. I think that's like an interesting character choice. Yeah. A couple like other things. I mean, it does not matter at all. I don't know if they're going to follow through with it. They clearly were setting up Flash to be lonely in this movie.
Yeah, he's neglected.
He calls his parents mother and father. They're not there at the airport to pick him up. He's
Do you see the text?
Like isolated. Like, what does it say exactly? I just know
It's
that
like
it says mother.
It's like mother, haven't heard from you in a few days or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's fully
he's
just
getting
neglected.
like the Tim Drake treatment. But there's. I feel like it's kind of fun that we get a swing sequence. We haven't really had like a swinging through the city sequence.
Yes.
With Peter.
I wanted to talk about that a little bit too. Yeah, because
mostly just because like we're supposed to feel like all is right with the world. We've regained balance, right? So we have a Spidey like swing scene where he's like swinging through the city, and then he gets his girl, and then they kind of do a joke on the whole like swinging with your girl through the city thing. Right. But then they throw that wrench in at the end of the secret ending, right at the end of the swing, so you know that it's like. He doesn't get a moment's rest.
Nope,
he shows up, he's back in the city, things feel great, and like 2 days later, his life is completely destroyed again, right?
Always. I like the swinging this time around. Corridor Crew guys just did a breakdown of different Spider-Man swings, and they said this one felt like kind of weightless. I first of all, they did not mention that when it comes to the Toby ones, which are straight up weightless. He's just flying. Like the webs don't connect to anything. I liked this one because of how nonchalant it feels. He's like swinging and like twisting, and he's just holding it. He looks like he's swinging around, and like
just having a good old time.
I felt like there was weight to it, and like it was just very nonchalant, and I liked it. I also like multiple instances in this movie, either for fun or practicality, using the web wings. Like I love that the web wings have been here to stay. Cool, Spidey, classic stuff that we never got before that we keep getting. I'm digging it. Not really a complaint because there's no reason I'm talking about it, but it is a little bit weird that the building he flies through is definitely Avengers Tower after it's been sold, and they added a bunch of stuff that they've clearly now changed,
like retconned, essentially.
Yes, which is weird because a lot of people thought at the time, back when the world was slightly more hopeful, that it was the Baxter building. Because there's like a sign on the street that says 1, 2, 3, 4. Guess what's coming? and the square in the
Mm.
middle of it, and it being very blue and very natural and very like, I don't know, it seemed like something you'd maybe have in a Baxter building. And just the square being in reference to 4. I was all for that, but no,
What
it's
are the odds that's just like a regular
I
street sign from New York?
in this movie very
Yeah.
very very small because almost every license plate in
Okay.
this movie is a reference to a comic book. Um,
Really?
yes,
Okay.
this is just one of those things where like I feel like they did not intend for it to be the new Avengers back in 2019, which is fine. Like I don't hate that,
Hmm.
but it just makes me wonder what were you guys gonna do? You know, like
What was
is the
the plan,
Fantastic
right?
Four gonna be something else? Like was it? What were you guys gonna do? I'm just so curious. I want to see that Elseworlds episode. Um, but yeah, that's kind of where we're at. There's definitely some good and some bad we didn't really touch on. There's a lot to get into. We complained about whether or not this movie is weak or strong for the first 10 minutes. Um, I like it a lot. I do consider it a whale. I do. The villain stuff is great,
Yeah.
and the Peter Parker not wanting to not be a superhero but just wanting time to himself, like very much the opposite of last movie of
Mm.
wanting more superhero stuff and less Peter Parker life, and now it's flipped. I think it works. I like that we're no longer in that era of the sequel is always something is wrong with the superpowers. We don't need that again.
Oh, yeah, I hadn't even thought about that. But no, it's like, yeah, there's something nice about seeing sort of like the lesson follow through. And I think it's nice too that they don't feel like it doesn't feel like it's carrying too far. Like Peter asking for a week off on his trip with
Right.
his classmates. Like
That's
that doesn't feel like like no one really gives him crap for it except for maybe Nick Fury, and we've already talked about how that's kind of out of character for Nick
mhm.
Fury, right? Um and so it's actually kind of great that we get a follow through on the first one's lesson. And it also nods to the fact that he's just been through a lot. Like,
Mhm.
if there was ever a time for the poor kid to have a week long vacation,
Right.
it is after the events of
I
Endgame.
know.
Let
Let
the
him
guy
let him
chill.
breathe. Like yeah, I'm in full support of that. And I like his moment
Yeah.
with Mysterio where it's like I didn't think I was going to have to save the world this summer. I know that sounds really selfish and like I'm a jerk, but I think that's they they do that exact same thing in the beginning of Incredibles, and no one shits on Mr.
Hmm.
Incredible for having that mentality. It's like sometimes I just want to settle down and start a family. All
Hmm.
this teenager wants is a week. You know, he
Hmm.
lost 5 years of his life. A bunch of superheroes he knows personally are dead or just gone. The world is completely
Hmm.
changed, and he just wants a little bit of normalcy. You would not begrudge most people for that. But again, these weird Spider-Man purists were so pissed off by this when this movie came out. That it was just ridiculous.
I mean, there is something to the extent of like a lot of Spider-Man's tension and story as a character is like the balance between personal desire and like social responsibility. But in this instance, like we've just talked about, he's deserves this.
Yeah.
Like there is literally no reason for him to not want this. Wanting this and pursuing this does not make him a bad person. There are no active threats right up to the point where there are, but it looks like there's someone who knows what they're doing to handle it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it
Mm-hmm.
the kid doesn't make a wrong choice at any point when it comes to what he's trying to do. The only thing he really does wrong, which I think, as we talked about again, we can forgive him for, is give away the glasses
Right.
to a guy he just met,
Yep.
right? And that is only after witnessing him be a full on hero and then being subject to really vulnerable,
Yep.
like psychological attacks on the places where he's really vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah,
It works for
Peter
me.
isn't he doesn't have to go through a character arc in this one. He really doesn't. He just
Yeah.
has to learn to believe in himself at the end, and that's it. And it works really well. I think it does.
Yeah. I'm.
It's a
I.
whale for me too.
It's a whale.
Would recommend
Fully,
watching
fully
it.
recommend.
You know, if someone didn't want to commit to the whole thing and they just wanted to watch Spider-Man movies, I think I'd be okay with it, but they'd have to know what happened
You
in
gotta watch at
Endgame,
least a
you know?
YouTube recap or something. You gotta
Yeah,
understand some of the stuff.
yeah.
Like, I have in the past defended the people who complain like, oh, I have to watch something to watch this. Like, well, then don't watch it. It's not for you. Well, like, if people were complaining about Far From Home because you have to watch the Avengers, like, yeah, then I get defensive of it. But I still think because there are other movies, like I was saying all the way back at the beginning of the hour, there are movies that balance better the homework versus lack of homework. Like we'll eventually one day we'll talk about the Marvels. The Marvels finds ways to recap everything that's important without having to watch WandaVision, Miss Marvel, or one of the Avengers movies. You know, that's a lot of homework it's doing. And Far From Home, because it's comfortably the first movie after Endgame, doesn't even attempt to do that. It's just that it is an option, and for me, it's just a noteworthy thing of something you can do that you didn't do.
I'm coming at this from a completely different perspective.
Okay, that's fine.
Not that there aren't good times and place to have recaps and mentions. Like, I think this movie does the right thing by taking time at the beginning of the story to just kind of sit in the emotions from the previous one, which also functions as a recap, right? Like a reminder that Tony is dead, a reminder that Peter went things. But I really, really, really don't want my movie that's in a series of movies to spend a lot of time telling me exactly what happened in the last movie.
Fair enough. That's also a good point.
That feels like it's spoon feeding me, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's not strong in my opinion. That's them not trusting me as an audience member to know what I'm doing.
Well, I guess.
And, like, sure, or potentially it's them trying to cater to those who didn't see the previous things. And I do kind of end up in the camp of like, well, who are you making this movie for?
That's true.
Your loyal fans or the people who are just in it for the fun?
I'll have to think about that more.
There's nothing wrong. Again, I don't want to sound like there is anything morally wrong about just watching one of the MCU movies. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I just feel like it doesn't make sense to critique this movie for being so embedded in Endgame's plot and emotions and not spoon-feeding the audience as to what happened in Endgame, because it literally just happened, you know, like
that's fair,
timeline-wise as well as audience-wise. Like, we just watched that. We really don't need the movie telling us exactly what happened again. That's kind of insulting.
I think the best way maybe to explain where my issue is, perhaps, is I kind of feel this weird sense of we are talking about Star Wars 2, 6, and 7, if that makes any sense at all. Like, it's weird because, like, it is one great big story. And to try to look at them as if it is just this little chunk of trilogy is not, it feels wrong. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Like, because it's not the same. I don't know if I really explained that well. It's just Far From Home, because of where it is, in essence, is a follow-up to Endgame, just as much as it is a sequel to Homecoming. Okay. And so,
which I think is the beauty of it.
No, it is a beauty for.
They managed to pull that off.
Yes, no, I think yes, it is, but there is, because of the marathon thing we're doing, I think, is where I'm also thinking, like, the other ones didn't do that, didn't have the option to do that. So I think I actually, you know, I might just be confusing myself at this point. There's something is missing, and I don't know what it is, where it's a different something. I don't even know, but something's off.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Maybe it's possible that we just think about this differently too. Like, our sort of framework around how we conceptualize the stories of the MCU is different. I don't have any issue with sort of like a general alliance on MCU history versus like us actually watching the scenes play out for it to be a part of the story. And maybe that comes from me, you know, that maybe comes from me reading like universe books as a kid, where like it was very frequent for me as a story experiencer, as an audience member, to need to recall facts and situations from previous events and previous books that were not maybe directly connected to that book.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think, to me, it is a total strength of the film. I don't want it doing anything more than it currently does. I don't want it doing really anything less than it currently does.
I think I realized what it is. I feel, because it is so ingrained and we do like that, I feel weird that we're skipping things. We skipped the intro. We skipped what is essentially Spider-Man 2. Because we're just watching the Spider-Man movies, we're skipping stuff. And I don't like it.
Oh, like
as
us
a
right now.
Yes, like that. As a viewer, I don't like that we skip Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame while watching this Spider-Man's journey. You know, I'm missing pieces.
So you feel like in order for you to talk about the quality of these movies, you have
I
to
think so.
watch all clips of Spider-Man.
I think a little bit, and I think you could say that really for any of the characters and their Avengers movies. Like, you can't fully get Captain
I think if I
America's
were,
motivation and his drive without Age of Ultron when you get into Civil War.
but that would be an analysis of the character and the MCU's total development of the character, whereas I thought we were looking at just the movies or trilogies as presented. Not that again, you're considering it within the context of the greater MCU, but as a movie within the context of the greater MCU, where we do know that Peter has gone and done these other things because we've previously watched it. How can we talk about this movie's entry
Yeah,
where it currently
I'm
stands, both
so
as a part of the MCU and the part of the
yeah.
trilogy?
This is fully a me thing. It's not, again, a thing like you said that hurts Far From Home. It's hurting my viewer experience that we're talking about Spidey stuff that we haven't watched. You know, like we can't really consider it when we talk about the trilogy in this way. Like,
Interesting.
there's
I think it's not a detriment to my viewing experience because I'm talking about it in the same way that like the people making this movie would talk about it. They're not going to include those bits in the movie, but they are going to expect the audience to at least have a familiarity with those things. So they're using audience expectations and previous knowledge to build a story that is more complicated because they are expecting the audience to have already experienced those
well,
things.
yeah, like
Like,
because I have experienced it.
mhm.
Yeah, a lot of this stuff makes sense. I'm just saying right
Right.
now, as we're watching and discussing, I feel
You just want to watch it.
well, kind of like I feel like we watched Star Wars 1 and 2, and then we skipped 3 and 4, and now we're talking about 5. Like, it's just part of my desired marathon experience. I think is there's just a chunk that we didn't get to watch. We have to remember. We have to think about it and talk about it because it's like one of those weird things about the MCU. Kind of like, it's not a bad nor a good, and that their stories
It's
continue
interesting.
in other films and bleed over into other
Mhm.
areas.
But see, I've always really liked that.
No,
And
I
I
like
see your
it.
point
Yeah.
about I see your point about feeling like maybe our snapshot of this character is incomplete because we're not getting major things. But I also feel like that's not really what I was looking for. I was looking
Mm.
for how these movies do within the framework of the greater MCU, considering their location with the other things that have happened for the character. Like, and I also feel like usually when there's an ensemble movie, the character gets less individual development than when they have a project focused on them, and that just makes logical sense. But if you really think about it, even though Tony, or not Tony, Peter in particular, he's kind of like he's almost like a gimmick in Civil War. You don't really we get introduced to him, he doesn't really do much else, right?
That's
It's
some fun
grounding.
stuff.
It's fun stuff, and it's a good first introduction, which tells us a lot about what we can expect from this Peter and this version of Spidey. But it is not functionally much in terms of storytelling for Peter Parker himself, right? We just
Fair.
get one tiny little adventure, and he doesn't even really get to see the beginning or the end of it.
Fine.
And then we have Endgame, which is wholly a big deal, like very much a big deal. But again, Peter is reacting to things, but it's
Mhm.
not really like Peter's story, right? Like we're not focused
You're
on how
right. You're
everything is
right.
impacting Spider-Man. So I guess maybe I conceptualize the way that the story works for the characters in the MCU a little bit differently than you. Where like, with the exception of a few movies, major character beats and usually happen within the trilogies of those characters
Mm.
versus happening within an ensemble movie.
Perhaps I might just have to do some thinking on it. I might just be confusing myself because I do love it, and there's only a few things I would change, and they aren't the connections or lack of connections to other MCU movies. So
Yeah.
cool. That's where we're at. I'm excited for next week. It's a good one.
Mhm. Mhm. It'll be fun to talk
Cool.
about for sure.
Oh, very fun. And yeah, you have to have watched everything to fully enjoy that one. And I
Which we have done
we
now.
have. Yes, good stuff. All right, but that's where we're at. We're done now. Bye.
Bye.